Hello, hello, CEO teachers. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're going to be discussing I don't know if it's the number one question that we get, or I hate when people say they get a lot of questions about things in the direct messages, but I often get asked, Casey, how do you do it all? You have all of these kids and you feel like you have it all together. And I absolutely do not. The thing about yesterday is that I've already recorded this show once and it didn't actually upload and record. So, just another testament of how my life does not always go as planned. Yesterday was a really hard day, like top hardest day I've had in a long time. And maybe it's because you didn't need to hear that side of me because it was not my best work. So today, I want to share with you just some tips, some tricks, and some strategies that I use whenever I'm trying to manage it all. I am a mom to 5 kids. I have a stepson who is almost 20. I have a 14-year-old boy, a 13-year-old boy. I have a 4-year-old boy. And then I also have a 2-year-old baby girl. And life is not always rainbows and butterflies. I have really learned how to manage my stress. And so I wanted just to share with you what I do when things don't always go according to plan, how I dig myself out of the depths of depression, and kind of just a game plan for some things that you can try in your own life if you're struggling, and hopefully help you make it to the end of this school year, the end of this year, and start the new year off with a bang. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you in today's show. What if I told you couldn't lose? That I could give you a sure bet, a smooth ride to finally loving the art of teaching again. I know it sounds crazy, but it's funny how when something sparks inside of you, when your heart gets lit back up, that you can change your life for the good, not only in the area of teaching, but really in every single thing that you do. I remember this aha moment when I was a teacher. And I was sitting there teaching other people's kids. And I thought, man, I'm getting paid to raise other people's children while I'm paying someone to raise mine. And that didn't sit well for me. So I started thinking to myself, how can I make extra money? How can I provide for my family more so that I can do this part time, or I can leave if I want to, or I can teach just in a different way? And I started thinking, how can I help other teachers? And if you're thinking to yourself, but I'm just a teacher, I don't really have any other skill set, I want to say thank goodness, because that is our specialty. Teachers supporting other teachers. It's exactly what we do here. I want you to start living the life you deserve. The 10 steps to get started selling your teaching resources online is your roadmap to help you take massive action and prioritize the most important things in life. I'm going to show you the strategies that I took when I began my journey, and I started living a life not only of my dreams, but now the life that I live and breathe every single day. I want to give that gift to you. Go to CaseyMorris.com/10 steps to get your brand spanking new workbook. I can't wait to change your life and give you some hope and some dreams again about teaching, because this is what you were meant to do. It just might be a little different than what they told you in college. Again, it's CaseyMorris.com/10 steps. You can type it in your browser, like KAYSEMORRIS.com/10 steps. Gosh, I have so much to say about today's show. I have a script to follow, but I also kind of wanted to just talk about some of the things that I do whenever I'm in a really, really hard spot. I listen to audiobooks a lot, and I want to share just some audiobooks that have helped me whenever I'm really struggling. Right now, I'm re-listening to The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. If you've never listened to that and you are a spiritual person, I really want to encourage you to listen to it. You may hear the words, the universe has your back, and think, oh, I don't need to listen to that. It's not faith-led, but actually it is. It is very, very centered on understanding that God created all of us and how we can speak to him and listen to him. And it's one of the best books I've ever read, just based on how to really feel like I'm not in this alone, that I have a support system and how I can best communicate with God and the universe. I really recommend that. I just recently started reading. I'm not going to recommend it to you based on how much I think you're going to love it, because this is one of those books where it is 30 hours worth of content. And so I think that it's one of those that you plug it in, you listen for a few minutes, you move on with your day. But it's called A Course in Miracles by Dr. Helen Schuckman, I think is how you pronounce it. I have just finished reading The Mountain Is You by Brianna West. And then let's see, what else? Oh, And perhaps my favorite book that I have recently read, I have it by my bedside table and I'm reading it every night. It is The Inner Work, and it's an invitation to true freedom and lasting happiness. So, first things first is that whenever you're struggling, I do believe that pouring back into you is a really, really good mindset to carry with you. Another thing that I wanted to be very off the cuff about is that you've listened to me talk about in the last year my struggle with drinking alcohol. Not that I drank every single night in the last year, but I have just kind of had a little bit of a roller coaster of using alcohol as a band-aid for whenever my life was stressful. I can openly and honestly say that I no longer do that. And that has been such a huge weight off my shoulders, because if you're trying to fix a bullet hole with a band-aid, that's a Taylor Swift quote, you're not going to be successful. And so I am not trying to tell you that you must get sober, but what I am telling you is that your problems begin to melt away when you're not trying to put a temporary fix on a major problem. You are really juggling with your mindset. There's just so many things that I've realized that as I've gotten out of fixing all of my problems with alcohol, I've seen a clearer picture of I can handle this. I can manage this. I am their mother. I am able to solve these problems on my own. The problem with fixing one addiction with another is that that other addiction sometimes takes over. And I jokingly said on Instagram stories today that I have started back running again. I was a runner for a while, but I recently signed up for a marathon, and I'm sharing all about that on my Instagram. If you'll go to Casey Morris on Instagram, and you can see more about that. But I am training for a marathon in Kentucky in April. And I am using running, I think, as a band-aid for some bullet holes that I have. So the problem with that is that if there's ever a minor inconvenience in my life, I just feel like I need to run. I don't know if that's a problem or if that is actually the solution, but just trying to give you some strategies of things you can do while I'm not on script that can help you. First is reading, pouring back into you. Second is finding a way to really help your stress rather than adding to it by adding in a new habit. If you've never read Atomic Habits by James Clear, that is another thing that I didn't really understand. I just conceptualized in the beginning, but I never really understood how little bitty habits could lead to a lasting life of happiness. My nutrition coach told me a while back in March when I started 75 Hard, she said, Casey, one day this will not be something you have to do. It'll just be something that you do. And I didn't really get it then, but now I do. It's like all of these little habits that I started to fix a year ago have now become my identity. I have become my habits. And when your habits are good habits, that is a feel-good feeling. Another thing that I started doing because of some of my friends, shout out to Amy, is I make my bed up every morning. And I was the person that told everyone, you do not have to make your bed up to be successful. Like, I hated that. There's a book that's amazing called Make Your Bed. I love that book, but I listened to it and it was like, great, I'm still not going to make my bed. Because I was like, I can be successful and not make my bed. I'm going to be that. Like, I love a tell me I can, I'll show you I can kind of vibe. But what it's done is that it allowed me to not crawl back in my bed. And so as a person that suffered from postpartum depression and just depression in general, the number one thing that I do when I get into a bad space is I crawl into my bed. And sometimes I'm there all day. But if I've made my bed, I have a conscious effort to say, I put in the effort to make this. I'm not going to undo it until it's time to go to sleep, until it's time to read a book to work on me, because I know what happens when I get into that bed. I know the person that I become. So everything that I told you just then is a way to help you manage it all as a mom or as a dad. You know, you've heard if you can't pour from an empty cup. And I know that you've heard that you have to put your life mask on first. And I thought, whatever, if I'm on a plane and the plane's going down, my babies are getting their oxygen masks first. But I've really started to change my attitude with all of that, because I can't be their mama, their best version of me, without me being the best version of me. And so I'm not talking about getting your nails done or your lashes done, although I do love those things. I'm talking about how can we help you manage yourself to the best of your abilities every single day so that you are able to be a better mom, a better dad, a better partner, whatever your goals are, a better sister, a better daughter, a better best friend. I believe in unconditional love, and I believe that people in your life deserve that from you. But you must first love yourself unconditionally. And I've done a lot of research on what that means lately. I really wanted to see what is unconditional love. And it's a love without strings attached. It's that no matter what you do, you are never unlovable. No matter if you've had a bad day, or if you aren't a good mom, or if you raise your voice, or if the kitchen isn't clean, you are not unlovable. You are unconditionally loved. And so you must say that and admit that to yourself before you can ever fully let other people love you unconditionally. I had an experience recently with my best friend who I believe loves me unconditionally. I've had her since the seventh grade. And she cleaned up my entire house for me and like hugged me and told me she loved me. And I thought, that is unconditional love, right? Like, who does that? Like, I had a horrible day and my best friend comes to me and cleans up my whole house for me and then like hugs me and gives me a kiss on the forehead and was like, we got this. Like, who does that? That's unconditional love. And so, do you love yourself that way? Do you love yourself enough to say that no matter what today looks like, I'm going to step in and say, I love me. I'm going to be the best version of me. I'm going to manage all of this. And it doesn't matter if all the things get checked off the to-do list, if I return all the Amazon gifts, if I teach the lesson perfectly and get all fours on my observation, and then I go home and cook spaghetti. Whatever version of mom or dad I am today, that is enough. And learning to let go of everything else is so important. Another book I want to recommend by Michael Singer is called The Untethered Soul. And then he also has a sister or brother book to that is called The Surrender Experiment. These books also helped change my life, along with another friend that gave me some guidance. I used to have a huge fear of flying, and she used to say, you can't control this. And so you have to let go and let God. And if you don't do that, you're never going to be able to get over your fear of flying. And so whenever I would get on a plane, I would say, I got to let go and let God. And Michael Singer in the book, The Untethered Soul and The Surrender Experiment, teaches you exactly how to let go of some extreme stresses in your life on things that you absolutely cannot control and stop trying to predict the outcome. And having that unattachment to whatever the fear is of being a bad mom or not being a great teacher or not getting all the things done on your to-do list. Being able to be unattached to the outcome is one of the greatest gifts that life could ever offer you. I'm going to give you some data. I was going rogue there. I hope you enjoyed it. But 33% of women report experiencing extreme stress over men. 3.6 is a healthy number, according to psychologists, on the stress scale. However, 23% of women report that their stress levels on any given day are between 8, 9, and 10. It's no surprise that you as a mom are probably working multiple jobs. Not only are you a teacher, not only are you trying to manage a side hustle, not only are you trying to be a mom, but you're also trying to be a house cleaner. You're also trying to be a short order cook. You're also being a laundry washer and all of those other things. You're going to get burnt out at times. You're going to say to yourself, the laundry can wait, the cooking can wait, and that's okay. So stress can manifest itself in so many ways. You can have a full-on meltdown. You can crawl in your bed like I say that I do, and you can live there for 12 hours a day. It can come in the form of headaches. It can come in the form of stomach aches. Myself, I don't eat when I get stressed. I can't eat. I can't look at food. I can't swallow food. I don't make time to eat because I have so many other things that I need to do. And I will look up and it's 7 o'clock in the evening and I've had a protein shake. And that's it. And that's not a way to take care of myself. I know when I'm not doing things well because I can't sleep properly. Another huge stressor for me is I can't sleep. I go to bed at 8:30 and I wake up at 11 o'clock and can't go back to bed till 3 and my alarm goes off at 5:30. And so that's not a good way to be either. Another way that stress can really manifest itself in your life is through not being able to concentrate. Increased irritability. Girl, I can snap, man, put me in a stressed out mood and I can go from being the happiest person in the world to losing it. But the self-awareness of saying, I just snapped, I need to apologize, I got to do better, is how I'm learning to manage all of that. It's not that I'm never going to snap. It's that I'm going to be aware of it and I'm going to self-correct it faster than ever before. I don't yell. I'm not a yeller. I actually say often that I don't choose violence. Like yelling, I've never in 36, almost 37 years of my life ever heard my daddy yell, ever. We just aren't that's just not how we just go silent whenever we're mad at people. But every now and then as a mom, like I lose it. Like, hey, where are your shoes? Hey, where are your shoes? Did you get your shoes on? Do you have your socks? It's time to go to school. We got to get your jacket. And so when you say things so many times, sometimes you just snap, right? You're like, I ask you, did you get your shoes? And so my kid's face when I do that, like, goes all serious on me, and I have to self-correct. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I lost my temper. Or, hey, I apologize, I didn't mean to do that, but mommy, I asked you 3 times, so next time let's just all try to do better. I'll try not to yell at you, and let's try to get our shoes on the first time mama asks you to. So learning how to just be self-aware to say, okay, I did wrong, I got to do better, has really helped me manage how I deal with all of my kids. Now, my stepson's almost 20. He doesn't live in the home anymore. So I have these 4 kids that I get ready every single morning. And I will say that 95% of our mornings are rainbows and butterflies now. And that's a really feel good feeling. I would say 95%. This week was a full moon, not 95%. No, this week it's Tuesday. We've had 2 hard mornings, but I think tomorrow is going to be a better day. So just remember and think about ways that stress is manifesting in your life. If you're not eating properly, you're not sleeping well, you're losing your crap, you are really irritable, you have negative changes in your behavior in general, and you have difficulty concentrating, just remember that, oh, this is a way that stress is showing me I need to pull back or I need to slow down. So how can you manage it all? I mentioned that Michael Singer in the book, The Surrender Experiment and the Untethered Soul, talks about letting go. When you let go of the outcome of the mom guilt of I'm going to get a Happy Meal, like I used to feel so guilty about feeding my kids Happy Meals. Why? Like, why did I feel guilty about that? Sorry, that laugh was really bad. But why did I feel guilty about that? I know that there are almond moms out there that will never feed their kids a Happy Meal, but also my life is crazy. I fed them breakfast, I fed them lunch, I gave them a healthy snack. If they have chicken nuggets, it's fine. I ate chicken nuggets my whole life and I turned out okay. I gave my kids M&Ms last night with popcorn before they went to bed. And I felt guilty about it because I had to brush their teeth extra because I wanted to make sure they didn't have any cavities. Like letting go of those things, of creating problems that don't exist, it's so important. Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is my top 3 favorite books of all time. But he talks about the circle of concern and the circle of influence. It is okay to have a proactive focus. It's okay to throw positive energy into things that you can help influence. So, for example, if I am the sole person setting the stage for the day with my kids on getting them ready for school, the circle of influence is that I can help them have a good day if we set the tone right. So, how do I work on that circle of influence? Well, I get up at 5 o'clock. I take my shower. I drink my coffee. I fix my hair. I put on my makeup. I get ready for the day before any tiny little feet hit the floor. Because when I take the time to put me first, I'm allowed to influence those babies at my house to say, I'm in a good mood. I've had my coffee. I'm ready to go. When I get you ready for school, then you're ready and able to go too. That is what the circle of influence is. And Stephen Covey says that's so important. You really need to put your energy into things that you can control. But the problem with trying to manage everything is that you start pulling things into your circle of concern that you have no outcome, you have no influence on whatsoever. Remember, the circle of concern can be a whole wide range of things. Anything from like checking the news when you wake up, or checking on Facebook, or figuring out what you're going to wear, or how people are going to vote, or what someone at work is going to say to you, anticipating someone else's bad mood, or getting mad at how someone drives in traffic. Friends, you're focusing on the circle of concern there. You're concerned about actions or things that may never actually happen. Not checking the news, getting off of Facebook, getting off of Snapchat and listening to other people's problems, moving yourself out of the circle of concern and only being dialed into the circle of influence is allowing you to put a lot of effort and energy in a much smaller world, but also allowing you to have an obvious influence on things that are within your power. Gabby Bernstein says, and I'm ad-libbing here, so I'm going to be a little off. Whenever you're having a moment where you're focusing in on other things that are out of your control, say this affirmation to yourself. I recognize that I am out of alignment with my power, and I am going to choose again. I say that to myself probably 30 times a day. from being at the office and starting to complain, or realizing the podcast did not record for this week, or being at the gym and being in someone else's conversation that has nothing to do with myself or how my life is working. I say, I recognize I'm out of alignment with my power and I want to choose again. And that little moment of shifting from the circle of concern to the circle of influence allows me to bring back that energy to me, allows me to say, I am worthy of finding my happiness here. Instead of looking for happiness as a mom, as a teacher, as a parent, in other aspects of your life, you can only find true happiness within you. And if you aren't happy, it's impossible to influence the rest of the world to be happy. It's funny because I was mad that this week's podcast did not record and I'm having to re-record it, but now I see why. I feel like I was supposed to tell you the things that I have said today rather than some of the things that I said yesterday. I feel like I'm in a better headspace, and so I hope that today has really resonated with you. But ask yourself these questions. Does my attitude reflect how I'm feeling? And if it does, not that you should mask it, but how can you influence it? Do you want to crawl under the covers and go to sleep? And how can you choose again? Do you need to rush outside and get some physical activity, find some sunshine, get some quiet time? Begin identifying the things that are causing you stress in that circle of concern and eliminate them. The news is number one, television is number two, your phone is number three. Get off of TikTok. Stop letting people and strangers you don't know influence your life, because the more you watch a video on TikTok, the more of the same that you get. It reaffirms what you believe. And so that's a very dangerous place whenever you're in a bad headspace. Stop reaffirming what you believe and just let things go. Some healthy ways that I like to manage my stress as a mom is to go for a walk, to go for a run. I pray a lot. I don't pray like the typical person prays in church. I talk to God and the sky like a couple hundred times a day. That's probably an exaggeration. But I do. I have these conversations of like, not doing good. I need your help. Like, oh man, the sky is so beautiful today. Show me something. Show me something. Thank you so much for the green grass. Thank you so much for this delicious meal that I'm about to eat. Thank you for the ability to be able to pay for my groceries and not have to be on government assistance anymore. Thank you for my baby's blue eyes. Thank you for that little cute little chubby cheek dimple that my baby girl has. Like, I constantly am talking because that helps me manage the stress. I love morning sunshine. Andrew Huberman from the Huberman Lab is a scientist from Stanford University, and he talks about the importance of morning sunshine. And as the sun is going down, I try to catch the sun rays in the morning, right when they get up, if we have the sun, and then right when it goes down. I am a active journaler. Someone at the gym told me about the importance of journaling I think it was like a year and a half ago, and I started to do it on a pretty inconsistent basis. And now I try to do it a lot, so much so that like minor inconveniences, I'm like, let me write this down. But getting it out there really helps. I don't know if you know this, but Abraham Lincoln used to write mail to people he was angry at. And then he would either burn the letter or he would put it in his office desk. And when he passed, they found all these letters to people that he had written that he never actually sent to them, because writing down your feelings can help you get them out and help them go somewhere, help you get that energy out of you rather than keeping it all bottled up inside. Meal prepping has made my life significantly easier. I know everything I'm eating today. I already know that. So that has allowed me to not have decision fatigue on what am I going to do. And I made it a lot bigger deal than it has to be. I thought that every meal had to be different: breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner. No, I eat the same thing. I eat the same things as much as I can to really eliminate decision fatigue and to help me mentally. I never realized the importance of platonic friendships. I am an extrovert, in case you didn't know. I get my energy from other people. And so being around other people has allowed me to fill up my cup. I'm learning hobbies outside of my mom duties, outside of my normal day to day. I did take my kid to play at Top Golf this weekend. I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. I want to jump out of an airplane. I'm actually on a journey to find more fun. If you go to my Instagram, Casey Morris, you can see that that's part of my title now, is on a journey to find more fun. I am doing as much as I can, as often as I can. I have trips scheduled out of the country, 2 trips in the next 2 months scheduled out of the country. I am going to go to one of my favorite places that I know I'm going to love, that I've never been to, for my birthday to celebrate. Find hobbies outside of your normal day to day. Block off time in your calendar to be more present in the moment. Leave the phone alone, start loving more, and start being kinder to yourself. Friends, you are a human. You are not this machine that's meant to just do things over and over and over again, rinse and repeat. I want you to be the best version of you today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, remember, your best is yet to come, and I'll see you soon.